Hello dear students, in today's class we will be discussing about the next type of operating system that we have is the distributed operating system. So in this we will be particularly concentrating on how the operating system is going to function and what are the different things under this. So in this, the computers are working with a certain cooperation with each other. Just like all these computers are connected to a gigantic network, as this operating system manages a group of independent computers and makes them appear as a single one, hence it is called as a distributed operating system. Appearing to be a very bigger one, as I said, it is a gigantic type of network, a very huge kind. But each of them will have their own resources. Each of the computer which is connected will have their own resources. The next kind of operating system is a network operating system. That is a slight difference between distributed and network operating system. The network operating system is an operating system that includes special functions for each connected computers or connecting computers and the other devices that are attached with the network. And this type of connection has been basically established by the means of interconnection of many computers or two or more computers together by the means of local area network, what we'll call it as a LAN, or connection within the particular room, we'll call it as inter-network. Certain operating system that helps us to connect these autonomous computers. The word autonomous is used for representing an individual or independent computer. Independent computer will be the computer that has its own hardware, software resources which do not depend on others. Here, the network operating system are Windows NT. NT stands for network. That is a 2000 version also we have. Linux, Sun Solaris, Unix are all the examples of the operating system that falls under the network. A network operating system is basically a collection of software and associated protocols. The word protocol here stands for a set of rules. Protocol is nothing but a set of rules that are established or that are into the agreement before we get in communication with other computer. So here the software and the rules are been set from the autonomous computer, that is independent computers, which are interconnected by the means of computer network, by the means of wired or wireless type of networking system. So here each computer will have certain rules of its own, like it will say, I will not share my files to other computer which are there on the network because of privacy issue. So these are the rules that has been set up by the individual computer. We will call it as a protocols. The features of operating system are, when you see at the diagram, see all these computers like agent and administrative panel, all these things are connected to a server software where the different videos and data are being stored. So each of the computer will have their own CPU, but they are dependent for the sharing of the information from the network operating system. NOS, that is network operating system, supports processors. Many processors can be connected at a single connection or at a single time. Protocols, that is rules from one computer to another computer, can vary. It also supports that. Automatic hardware detection, like if any keyboards or printer or any kind of hardware device is attached to the network operating system, it automatically recognizes it. It automatically finds out whether it is attached or not. Next thing is multiprocessing of application. It's like you want to log into the certain system, or you want to use the application or the software that is present in the main server. For like, you will have the authentication and authorization. Authentication is the process of validating yourself whether you are the one who is claiming for the resources and you have the rights over the resources or not. That is the process of authentication and authorization. The access controls are different. Like few people can access only entering into the computer. Like consider an example, if there is a network with the printer and 5 computers are attached, not all 5 computers can give a printout to the networked printer. Only 3 or 4 computers are allowed. Like in this library or computer lab, you cannot use all the books, or you cannot use the printer which is there in the cabin of the in charge. Similarly, access controls specifies who can access what amount of data and who can climb on the peripheral devices that are attached. The next one of its kind is the multi-threading operating system. As you already know, thread is nothing but a type of lightweight material. Similarly, in the operating system, the word thread is used for the lightweight process, okay, and it is a basic unit of CPU utilization. So the threads are the basic unit of CPU utilization, how the processes are going to work. So here you can see in the example, these are the threads. Each thread is nothing but a process. Each thread will be accessing the CPU time, that is with the help of the kernel space, which provides the user space, and the other one is the space for the thread libraries. Library here in the sense of pre-compiled or pre-installed code which is already executed, which is already present in its machine level form. There is no way of, or there is no need of processing these files again and again. So that is called as the library, set of library. So here when you see a thread in the intersection of its, a program or a process may have many threads when they are executing, and they will share the same code section, data section, and other operating resources. The code section deals with the necessary instructions. The instructions need to be stored somewhere, and permanently it has to be moved to the files. The intermediate operations are being done by the memory registered or the stack memory where the thread is going to operate. So like this, all these are the shared areas where the thread shares the resources between different threads of its kind. Multi-threading is very much needed because we are talking about multi-threading itself, multi-thread operating system. Till now we spoke about a thread only, a lightweight process or a unit of execution. Multi-threading allows the different parts of a single program to run concurrently, simultaneously they are going to run. For example, a program may consist of hundreds of threads. For an instance, if a program has to execute, 10 or 20 threads will be running simultaneously in their processing stage. So multi-threading allows us, or it has the ability, or gives the ability to the operating system to execute different parts of the program that are called as the threads, and they are going to be executed simultaneously, that is parallelly. Multi-threading is generally done in Java programming language. When we want to code a software or an operating system, and it should be of multi-threading operating system. That will be coded by the help of the Java programming language. Now the next concept that we are going to discuss in this class is the functional features that are commonly used by the operating system. Now what are the functional features? When you see an operating system, what you see, when you see it, you see the interface of the operating system, how it looks like, how the mouse clicks, how the shifting between one screen to another screen, how the actions, icons, menus, okay, different things, files are being represented in different graphical ways. That is the common feature that we are going to discuss. In the very beginning, the operating system needs a way of interacting with the user. When it is interacting with the user, because it acts like an intermediator between user and the computer, the way of operating system is going to communicate with the user, we will call it as an interface. Okay, when we are talking to each other, we say we spoke face to face. I spoke on his face. Okay, so like when we are communicating, we are just facing each other. But when we are communicating with the computer, or the user is communicating with the computer, it is not directly facing the computer, that is hardware. Instead, it will be facing the operating system. That thing what you see in front of your eyes when you work on the computer, we will call that as an interface. So basically the interfaces are of two types. One is the command line interface, CLI, command line interface. The another one is the graphical user interface, GUI. The CLI, command line interface, has the following features. Like you can say, it is a darker mode. Okay, there is no much interactions that we can do. We need to type the commands. That all icons and graphics all are absent here. So let us move to the theory one. Command line interface do not make use of images, icons or graphics to present you information in front of your computer or on the output screen. So they do not have any images, icons or graphic representation of the data. So they are very boring kind of thing. User have to type in the commands to carry out the operations. If the user wants to do certain operation like copying or deleting or moving the file from one place to another place, the user has to first look on to the command what is required for the copying and pasting. Then he needs to type the command with the name of the file to copy or paste or to delete. So that takes a more knowledge about how to operate in an computer. So it requires knowledge of operation. So commands have to be properly or precisely typed, we can say. If there is anything missing, like comma is missing, semicolon is missing, okay, full stop is missing, the statements or the command are not going to get executed properly. So this is an example that you can see, okay, in the command line interface. The next one is a graphic or graphical user interface, GUI. So the features of this is the user has WIMP, that stands for Windows, icons, menus and pointers. Windows, icons, menus and pointers, all these things are used. Now Windows is the thing that you are seeing over here. That's the screen is divided into areas that we will call it as a window. This is one window, this is another one, this is another one, and this is another one. So windows are useful if you need to work on several tasks simultaneously, whether you want to see whether your video is getting downloaded or no, and you are copying certain file, or you are processing certain video, and you are googling also certain things. So all these several jobs are being done simultaneously that you need to see over it. The next thing is the icons that you see in the picture. The networking icon, the file icon, the computer, the recycle bin icon. So these are basically the small pictures used to represent commands or files or even a window also. Okay. So a kind of pictures that has certain meaning. When you click onto it, they have certain action to undergo. The next thing is the menu. This allows the user to make selections from a list. Okay, see the menu. See the list of values that I can select from. Okay, I have certain things that when I click on the start button, I have a list of menus or a selection list from which I can select what I have to do and what I need to open. Then comes the pointer. A pointer is generally what we are talking. See, this is moving one. This we'll call it as a pointer. So pointer is the one which acts like a pointing device on the screen. So this is a little arrow that appears when you are using the Windows, and it can also be used for selecting or used to select the icon or select the options from the menus that you have. From this list of menu I can choose any one among them. So that is the graphic user interface. Now when we compare both CLI and GUI, we have certain differences between each one of them. Let us see what is the difference. CLI stands for command line interface and GUI stands for graphical user interface. So in the command line, the user must type the commands. He needs to remember the command. In the command prompt, that is the area where we type the commands to perform some action or to interact with the computer. To interact with the computer system, I need to type the commands. Okay, without the, typing of the commands, I cannot perform any actions over here. But the user must have to click on the icons or menus or a dialog box, etc. to interact with the computer. He wants to communicate with the computer, he needs to click on an icon, a menu or a dialog box like that. The next thing is what we have is the CLI, command line. We must need to remember the commands and its values, that is parameters, what we say. But in the graphical user interface, you need not to remember any commands because you have a list of menus or list of icons. The image itself represent what it is for. Like for example, we have seen in the previous slide. Now here you see it as computer. When you click onto that particular icon, you will be moved to my computer. So my computer will have D drive, C drive. Sorry. Again, different types of icons are present. So we need not to remember the icon. We need not to remember the commands. So mouse operations are not available. So here there is no work of mouse, that is a pointing device, no use of the pointing device. But here mouse operations plays an important role. Okay, many of you will use mouse instead of the keyboard because all the selections are easier with the pointing device. Okay, because it is handy. But when you want to perform with the keyboard, you need to remember again commands. Okay, like for example, when you press Windows button and E, you will get my computer open. Okay, many of you don't use it. You will click on the start and you will go to the computer and then will you open the my computer, that is other drives. So cannot be used for multitasking. Many tasks cannot be performed in the command line interface. It is single user, single tasking example. It can be used for multitasking. Okay, like you have seen many windows are been opened. Okay, here in the windows, several tasks can be performed at a time. The command line interface is based on the operating system, that is single user, single tasking operating system, whereas the GUI, graphical user interface, is based on the single user multitasking or multi-user multitasking operating system of its kind. So in this session we have discussed some of the operating system, its types and the various factors on which we will be working on to the operating system. So in the next class we'll go on to the features of different operating system, that is disk operating system. Thank you.